Hello and welcome to Mansfield Park for the second border derby of the Premiership this season between Hoyk and Jed Forest. Hoyk have had the upper hand the past few times these teams have met, but today's derby could prove a tough one for both sides. Before we go to the commentary box, let's have a word with the coaches. A border derby is always going to be tough, but Mansfield Park makes it even tougher, doesn't it, coming here and trying to win?
Well, it does, and Hoyk have been playing well. You know, they'll be coming into this game with a lot of really good feedback, so that's up to ourselves as well to try and play to their best potential, to make sure we secure ball and retain ball as much as we can. And if we can do that, then we'll be there or thereabouts before the end of the game. You
got your first away win last week against Aberdeen Grammar. Was that a good feeling?
It was really good. I thought we played well up there. Got the job done. Disappointing not get a bonus point, but at the same time, as you say, to get a first away win was, the boys played well, and obviously we're back at Mansfield again and unbeaten here, but it's no pressure I'm putting on them, as we're going to have to be at the top of our game today to beat they're a well drilled Jed side, so now really looking forward to it.
You fought back last week from being down at half time. Are you hoping that pace and tempo that you brought to the second half can be repeated?
Yes, I think we've been bad for that. We've just not produced like 80 minutes yet. I think the performances week in and week out has been very good. Certainly the last couple of weeks we've only missed about 8 tackles in a game, which is excellent, which is all down to kind of Mike Howe's defensive qualities that he's bringing to the team. So I think if we can contain that and frustrate Hoyk, then we should be there or thereabouts. We've certainly got the potential in the backs, there's no doubt about that, but we need parity up front, and then that's very important to us today.
Look, I'm hoping there'll be a decent crowd down today and they can get behind the boys, and I've not had to tell them too much this week at what a border derby. They know their style now. They've played long enough to understand what it means to them. So as I say, we're going to have to be top of our game, but we have made it a tough place to come, so I'm looking for another big performance. And I've said that this week about being a top 4 side. You have to get a bit of roll going and keep in touch with like Samar and Curry, who have to win games like this. So I think Jed will be tough. I think it'll be a tight game, but at the same time I am looking for a big performance for them.
Welcome along to a dreek-looking Mansfield Park, where the Green Machine of Hoyk are going to take on the Royal Blue visitors of Jed Forest in the Tennent's Premiership. Hoyk have been formidable at home this season and will be looking to make it 4 wins from 4 on home soil and keep the pressure on Marr and Curry at the top of the table. But Jed will be hoping to try and build on an impressive win last week against Musselburgh and pick up their 3rd win of the season and try and claw themselves back up the league standings. And the home side will be hoping that Morgan Tate can put in another impressive performance on the wing. And in the forwards, their ball carriers such as Tate, Graham and Linton in the back row will be vital in dictating the pace and style of this game. Jed, they've welcomed back a few players from long-term injury, and they're players who definitely make an impact. Robbie Shearer-Gibb and Gregor Law will be hoping to try and prove they're up to speed and continue with their return to action unscathed. Law in particular will relish these wet conditions, which will suit a tight game in the pack.
Yeah, it's just a typical border derby day, isn't it? It's the conditions are not the best. And Hoyk obviously up front over the last few weeks we've been really good, led by captain Matt Carrier. So I think they will probably enjoy the conditions a little bit more. But as you say, it's definitely a tough one to predict today.
And alongside us as well is Kelly Mitchell, and you spoke with the referee Sam O'Neill before the game, and you're saying he particularly likes a crunch border derby.
Yeah, he's really looking forward to this. You know exactly what you're getting with a border derby, so it's quite easy to prepare for. He thoroughly enjoys this type of game.
As Gregor Young has just led Jed onto the park, and we await Hoyk now, and it's Matty Carrier wearing the number 3, although he is a hooker. He's leading the team out this afternoon, the club captain for the season, ex-Gala and ex-Peebles, also a Scotland club international as well. He's certainly improved and developed as his career went on, the 31-year-old. As Welsh now has to dig about in that ruck to try and find a little bit of room, and it's McLeod now just stepping back off of his right foot and trying to set up the platform infield. The Jed defence has got pretty tight and Kirk Ford has got options. He hits Welsh at the back. Welsh has an overlap on the stand side and he goes for the greedy option, but it's came back on this side. Bailey Donaldson, but the referee's pulled that back, and that is a huge opportunity missed there for Hoyk there, you would say, Graham.
Yeah, an excellent tackle on the edge there, but Hoyk done everything right, and again that man Linton, a few really dominant carries there, and then obviously we worked the defence. We were able to manipulate the guys on the edge there, but a great hit on Glenn Welsh there, just dislodging the ball and bringing an end to the attack.
Yeah, he felt that there was certainly a try scoring opportunity there, and the inside centre, Glenn Welsh, had the option to perhaps go, but it's always a difficult thing when you get caught in two minds, and I think he picked the easy option just to try and tuck it and try and see if he could force his way through, but it's an opportunity missed there for Hoyk. Still 0-0 in this game so far, and it's going to be the first scrum of this afternoon, and an opportunity for Nick Stingle to push in, so it's going to be an interesting battle here up front as Hoyk will look to try and put a little bit of pressure on, but they've got the Jed have the human anchor in Paulo Ferreira. He's a big lump to try and shift the back, so it's going to be an interesting battle because Hoyk will be trying to put a little bit of pressure on this Jed scrum to try and force an error, and equally Jed, well, they're a team that can do anything from deep inside their own 22. They're certainly capable of running the length and also trying to play some smart rugby and kick downfield, so the referee is going to award the penalty there for a collapse on that far side. Kelly, is that right, the call there?
Yeah, the Jed prop at this side, as soon as the engagement came in, he just flopped straight down to the ground, so yeah, accurate call.
I'm glad that you're here because I know nothing about. I think if I'd played any longer I probably would have ended up in the front row, but that's why I'm glad you're here, Kelly. So that's certainly something that we were saying there. Obviously Hoyk wanting to put a little bit of pressure on the scrum. They get an opportunity from the penalty here, and I think they picked the right option here. Matty Carrier just opting for the kick here. Certainly a difficult kick in these conditions, not a lot of wind to speak of at the moment, but certainly these wet conditions underfoot are going to make this a challenging kick here. And it's going to be Kirk forward. 40 points so far this season, and this is to add 3 more and put Hoyk just in the lead for the first time in this game. Right-footed kicker just to the right-hand side of the posts, and he struck it well. It's drifting left, but it's just snuck through. So the first score of the game goes to Hoyk, and it's a penalty from the boot of Kirk Ford.
A lot of people would have been looking forward to that first scrum, but obviously with Hoyk getting that penalty there, 3 points is a good start for us.
Definitely is. Gary Munro is kicking deep. He knows this park very well because he played his club rugby here at Hoyk for a few years, and it's returned back downfield, and Dom Buckley, the experienced back row, finds Lewis Young, and he's trying to find a little bit of space on that far side, but it's been well controlled over there by Ronan McKean, and he's just trying to start galloping downfield, and he's met a couple of big hits there from the Jed Forest, but there's space over on that far side. Matty Carrier just getting the ball through the hands to a supporting runner, and it's came back on a Hoyk side, and again just trying to shift the point of target, just widen this Jed Forest defence. We did see Gareth Welsh a few weeks ago against Glasgow Hawks here sniping round the fringes on a few occasions, but that's another big carry there from the Hoyk forwards, and certainly doing well here and just trying to pin Jed back, use the field well, and that's a good heads up rugby there from Kirk Ford, just spotting a little bit of space in behind Robbie Shearer-Gibb, just stabbing the ball through and getting a little bit of field position here for Hoyk.
Excellent basic rugby there, Dale, wasn't it? We retained a kick just outside our 22, we kept the ball well, and then obviously Kirk being able to get the ball in behind the defence there and have a line out in the 22. And
he's grown as a 10 and as a playmaker, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Kirk's played a lot of rugby at 15. Now the way that most modern teams play now, we obviously need a second receiver, in the centres that Hoyk have had lately. We've relied on a 15 being our second receiver, so he's obviously had that mantle and been able to do that, and now he's just been able to take the main jersey there at 10. Yeah,
he's certainly had a good steady start to the season as Gary Munro plays first receiver there with a box kick downfield, obviously just replacing Nick Stingle for that phase of play, and Bailey Donaldson just notices a little bit of space in behind again, and that is where it benefits having 2 excellent kickers and 2 excellent playmakers in the side. And certainly a good attacking kick there from Bailey Donaldson as Matty Carrier is going to throw into this line out, and he's got a jumper at the back there, and he's been latched on well, and just packing down, and you can see this ball just getting a little bit ahead of steam. Matty Carrier is just poised at the back, and he's going to have to play with his head up and take the ball forward, but he's been met with a couple of stern tackles there from Jed Forest, and the advantage is going to be on a Hoyk side, and it's now Kirk Ford, and he's trying to launch the ball out there. Logan Gordon-Woolley is looking to try and stand up his man, but he gets marched back a couple of yards as Hoyk look to try and pick the lock for the first time in this Jed defence, and Hoyk now looking to try and make some small and hard yards, but again a little snipe round the fringes there from Welsh, who's again just playing that heads up rugby, keeping the fringes on their toes, and it's now a ball out the back there. It's gone pretty loose, but it has came back on a Hoyk side. Connor Sutherland just snifling on that loose ball, And Welsh now is found forward, just on the 22. He's got a couple of options, but has to go for the kick again. Everybody getting a bit flat, and it's set up well there for Morgan Tate on the right wing. Unfortunately for him, he ran out of room on the stand side and had to drift into touch. But Kirkford using the advantage well, and it's going to come back for a penalty to Hoyk. And he's got an option here, and they go short, they go low, and it's a good quick line out there, but it looks like it's maybe going to be coughed up on a Jed side, but it's been well dug back there. Welsh looking to try and snipe round the fringes again, and Jed just trying to do the dirty work on the floor. So a move straight off of the training ground, but it's ended up being collapsed pretty early, but it came back on the Hoyk side, so they'll be happy to be camped in this position. Welsh now, he's found Linton, and Linton's just been gobbled up by Paulo Ferreira. Just a few metres shy of the line, and again Welsh looking to try and use the backs forward, back inside Morgan Tate, and he's over the line for a try. A very nice try there from Hoyk. Deft hands from the fly half, finding the hard working winger Tate on the inside, and he dives over for what looks like a simple score, but really the work done there in the forwards.
Great try there. Obviously boys keeping the ball really well again. Thought Jed had actually stole that ball off the first sack on the line out. They'd done really well there, but Hoyk regathered, kept the ball well.
You know, when you're a winger, if you're scoring tries, it builds confidence. That's what you're there for, and certainly he's got an eye for the line at the moment as the right-footed conversion goes over, and that is a good kick there from Kirkford to extend the lead. And it's been a great start for Hoyk so far as they try and maintain their unbeaten home form, as Jay Linton just gathers the ball from the restart, and he's just trying to find a little gap, and he's certainly a man that's got pace and power as he just bundles over Gary Munro, who went low on the big man. And now to another big man, Matty Carrier, who's found a good runner on his shoulder. A big man, but very good skill set, Matty Carrier, I must say. I know him very well, but it's hard to compliment him, but that is certainly one of his attributes, as he's found in that position again, just looking to try and protect that ball, and takes over well and presents the ball back into Welsh, who's got an option here. And Ford has to duck down to get the ball back, but it's being gathered there by Corey Tate, the youngster, the young back row. Again, just offering himself up for some hard work and hard ball carrying, as Welsh just dictating to Bailey Donaldson where he wants him to be as they try and turn the wingers. And it is going to be Mason Cullen, his first real opportunity to try and do something. And I think he was trying a wee chip and chase, but on that occasion it never came off his boot well, and that just invites pressure back onto Jed. They get the ball kicked to them deep inside their own half, and they just invite pressure by making these little unforced errors.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, just that Jay Linton with an excellent carry up the middle. I think Jed may have to look at changing their kickoffs. That's two that have basically went straight down his throat, and he's probably gathered near on 20-30 metres off of that one carry there. Now that's already putting Jed on the back foot, and it makes it real difficult, as you said, in these conditions to be able to come back from that type of field position.
Campbell have found Roth in the line out, and it's Munro with a huge kick downfield. We know how big a kicker he is, and he'll be hoping to try and make use of that more, but you can see there the impact that has as the ball bubbles off a few heads in the stands. Hopefully everybody is okay, but you can see there when Munro finds the field position with a clearing kick, he's already made 30 yards because his kick is so long. And now Hoyk are deep inside their own half, and it just shows you when you've got a kicker like Munro in the squad what that attribute can do for your team.
Yeah, we probably haven't given him enough credit as a 10. We mentioned before that he likes to throw the ball about, but he has got a massive boot there, and got some real good field position. Yeah,
I agree with that. I think he was moved from half to winger in his time that I've seen him at Hoyk, and he kind of flattered to deceive a bit. He was very promising as a youngster, and I feel like he's maybe found his position. I do like him as a 10, as there's going to be a yellow card here for Jed Forest, and I think that's going to be Nick Stingle who's going to go into the bin. No, it's not. It's going to be Gregor Law who is being yellow carded there by the referee Sam O'Neill this afternoon, and the big man just returning from injury.
The Hoyk maul has been really effective, and I think we're probably going to see it as we are here. We're basically running forward here, an excellent maul from Hoyk, and there's very little you can do, especially if you're down to 7 men, to do that without, obviously, with the legalities, and make sure that you don't give any penalties away. And I think we've got another free ball here.
Totally agree, and it's Welsh now. Welsh has found Tate working hard off his wing, and he's looking to try and step up his opposite man Donaldson's found some support on the far side. They step back inside, and that looks like that is Ronan McKean with a score over on that far side. Great work initially from the line out. Good play out of the back, and you could see the hard work of Tate off his own wing going over to the far side and interplay with the back three, and that is an excellent score from that is the sort of score you like to see from wingers and fullbacks.
Yeah, no, brilliant score there from the Hoyk backline. Again, just with that little bit of freedom of having the penalty advantage. But Morgan, again, not just standing on his wing, being in behind Kirkford and making sure he's an option every time, and he taking the right option there. Some great hands by Bailey Donaldson with a 2-on-1 to get big Ronan McKean in for another try.
But it's going to be a challenging kick to try and add the extras as Kirkford, the right-footed kicker on that far side, has the opportunity to add the extras. It's already got 5 points this afternoon, right-footed kick. It looks like it's got the distance certainly, and they're having an eager look at that, and that is an excellent kick from the youngster over on the far side. There's just in front of us, it's going to be Finlay Campbell now to throw into the line out, the youngster. Got some options in there, some good line out jumpers, and they go for the back there, and that is going to be Glenn Young to try and get that, but it just went over, and Matty Carrier's doing well to try and sniffle on that, but it's just been knocked forward. As Stingle now goes round the corner, and I think that's Young again, looking to just offer up some inroads into this Hoyk defence. Has now went between the other two Youngs, Lewis and Gregor, but he's been met well there by Logan Gordon-Woolley. And it's now come back on the Hoyk side, and it looked like it was going to be open play in there for Hoyk to try and attack, but the referee's going to pull that back for offside, and there's a little injury on that far side as a Jed player is just receiving some attention, and it's been all Hoyk so far, and Gary Monroe with a right-footed kick has got the opportunity to try and get some points on the board for Jed Forest, and on that occasion he is unsuccessful as it's just drifted to the left-hand side of the sticks, and the flags do not go up. It's a little bit of inroads here for Jed as they look to try and keep this tight again. Matty Carrier meeting Paulo Ferreira. That's a big titanic clash there in the centre of the field. And now Roth, who's been met with Jay Linton, which is equally as big. He is a monster of a man, Jay Linton. He's a very big, powerful, abrasive ball carrier, and so is Roth for Jed Forest. So certainly a good coming together of those two players as Stingle just gets the ball away from the base, and Monroe looking to pass a lovely ball out the back there to Lewis Young, and Lewis Young has got a clean pair of heels there, looking to try and kick in field, and that is a great option as Don Buckley there in charging for that ball, but it's came back on the Hoyk side, and they're trying to hunt him down. Mason Cullen was across there trying to just put a little bit of pressure on Kirkford, but it's Gregor Young now and just trying to stamp those feet and just find his way round the man, but he's been dragged down there. But certainly a good option there for Jed Forest, and they've got players on this stand side, and they look to try and go through Ben Howe, who's a late replacement for Clark Skeldon, and he's looking to try and make an impact on this game as Roth now runs into Carrier, and he just runs straight into them. That's a great strip there from Carrier. Excellent defensive work from the Hoyk captain, and it's now Morgan Tate in there playing first receiver, just getting instructions from Welsh to leave the ball, and it's now came to Linton, and he's just bounced off one defender, two defenders, three defenders, not four. He's almost got Young there, but he's certainly that lateral run-in who's dislodged this Jed Forest defence. Over there now to Bailey Donaldson, who kicks left field down the park, and he's found Lewis Young, and Lewis Young now looking to try and assess his options and make some open field run in there and try and make some ground, but on that occasion just the stretchy shirts of Jed Forest just stopped him in his tracks. The Stingle looks to try and put a little kick downfield for Mason Cullen, and it's dribbled out.
We've obviously spoke about the conditions a fair bit, but I think now that both teams are looking to open it up and throw the ball about, and it's turning out for a good spectacle.
Yeah, I think Jed have been forced to do that. I think that's the explosive start from Hoyk has actually forced Jed and forced their hand slightly, and they're having to play a brand of rugby that they perhaps weren't going to play at the start of this game, but it's certainly been forced on them now as Monroe passes that big ball in field to Young, and Young looks for that, his brother just on the shoulder, and it's Lewis Young who takes the ball forward. It's a forward pass, but that even caught me by surprise. I didn't even see the ball getting feinted in front to Lewis Young, but it's certainly just showing the capabilities there for Jed Forest. They do have the options out wide, and that looked dangerous there. Even if the ball had bypassed Lewis Young, there was options out here in the wing with Shearer Gibb outside as Welsh rolls it into the scrum. A little bit of shunt on for Hoyk. They look like they've got a little bit of an advantage in there as Linton passes from the base to Welsh. Welsh has found Ford on this far side, and it's a 2-on-1 opportunity for Morgan Tate. Morgan Tate's got a little bit of pressure here from Rory Marshall, just brushes him off and finds Kirk Ford back inside on the 22. So Hoyk in behind the gain line, and it's Welsh now, and he's found Stuart Graham, who's a good runner there, and certainly got caught up and wrapped up by Jed Forest. And now Welsh again, he's found Bailey Donaldson, who's playing first receiver, and he's met with a big tackle there. Hope, who got the ball, and now it's the other Welsh, the other brother there, it's Glenn Welsh, who's just danced back inside. But Hoyk doing well to try and protect this ball as Carrier now He's a big ball carrier, and he's just offered just that as he's just danced back inside again, just stepping off his right foot to try and find a little gap. And now Fairbairn finds Kirk Ford, who tries to just throw that show and go back in field. And Hoyk now trying to slow the pace down and get control back on this phase of play. As they just march forward a few more metres, as Welsh again has got a couple of runners there. He's found hope, but it's just squirted through his hands back to Tate, and the referee having a little look at that, but I think it has went back as Fairbairn is asked to kind of sweep up the loose ball at the back. Big Sean Fairbairn as Hope goes in to play first receiver, as the energy kind of comes out of this attack here from Hoyk, as it's getting very, very messy on the floor there from Jed Forest, who's just making a fist of this. But as Hope finds Carrier almost finds Tate on the stand side, but the ball's just drifted and ghosted in front of the young back row, and it's another opportunity there for Hoyk, but fortunately for Jed Forest, it's just bundled into touch there. And again, Welsh just trying to give a little bit of direction to some of the players as Stuart Graham comes out of nowhere to try and offer his clout to the breakdown. And Welsh again digging away and just trying to see this half out. A little bit of seesaw there as Kirk Ford just hoists this ball high into the sky, and they're going to be asked to try and gather this, and Lewis Young just guddles it just in front of him. It came back on the Hoyk side. It's been well gathered by Jay Linton, who's found Logan Gordon-Woolley in a little bit of space, and he was almost chopped in half there by Gregor Law. He was just looking to try and go low and just clatter his man, but luckily for Logan Gordon-Woolley, he just danced out of the way of that big hit. But it was an opportunity there if the ball could have got loose for Hoyk to attack. But that is half time. The half time score sees Hoyk leading 17 points to 0. A try from Morgan Tate, another one from Ronan McKean, which was well set up by Morgan Tate. And there's a penalty from Kirk Ford, and he's also added 2 conversions to take his tally for the season up to 47 points. So certainly a good tally for the fly half, but Jed Forest have a lot of work to do in the second half if they've got to overturn this deficit. They currently are trailing Hoyk 17 points to 0 in the Tennent's Premiership. Gary Monroe to get us back underway here at Mansfield Park, and it's been well fielded down just outside of the Hoyk 22. And they just take the ball forward there as well. She's asked to find a runner, and it is Matty Carrier, the captain, just to breaking one tackle and making some good yards again. Jed trying to make a fist of it on the floor, but not managing to do so on this occasion. And Kirk Ford just back in his 22, hoisting that high for Morgan Tate to have a little run at, but it's maybe just a bit too long, and it's bounced off the chest of Lewis Young, and he'll be frustrated with that. And it is Morgan Tate who's picked this up and just plucked it off of the ground when nobody was watching, and it's the referee's going to bring that back. But there's a couple of mistakes from the high ball from Lewis Young, and I don't know if that's something that Hoyk have targeted, but it's certainly uncharacteristic from Lewis Young. But these errors have just crept into his game this afternoon. And a good opportunity and a good platform here for Hoyk to try and pounce from their own half as they look set up for some sort of strike move here, as Linton is looking to try and make a nuisance of himself at the back of the scrum, but it's came to Ford, and Ford has found a bit of room on this far side, and Mason Cullen up very, very flat, and Lewis Young was trying to keep that ball from going out of the field of play, but he was just a little bit too far away from it to make that happen. Throw into the line out here for Jed Forest to try and hit the target there, and it is Ruff who collects that ball, and Jed now looking to try and set up a maul of their own and get a little bit of go forward here as Finlay Campbell just ducks in at the back of the maul. He almost collapses it himself there as he just lost his foot in there, but Stingle does well to dig the ball out, and Young offer up a really slow cut in midfield. It's Gregor Young this time with Stingle, quick ball from the breakdown, and it's now Lewis Young with the ball in hand looking to try and dance in field, but he's just been wrapped up there by Linton in defence. And good defensive work there from the big number 8 as Conor Hogg, who's returned to the field of play, replacing Grant Paxton again, is looking to try and get busy again early on, as Meadows now he just steps back in field. Very light footwork there from the big replacement prop. He's done well to set up the platform here as Jed looked to try and split this field. Stingle going back the wrong way as Don Buckley was not expecting that, but he's asked to do a little bit of dirty work on the ground, and it's going to be a penalty to Hoyk there, and that's an error there, you would say, from Stingle, who the option there perhaps was right, but just a lack of communication there with Buckley to go against the grain and come back to the open side over on that far side. Matty Carrier there just finding the tail of the line out, and that's a good throw in from the Hoyk captain, and as Hoyk look to try and march this forward, put a little bit of shunt on to this Jed pack. It's twisting and turning and it's weaving and it's looking like it's encroaching towards this line, and is Matty Carrier going to get his 5th try of the season? He flops onto the line, the referee puts his hands in the air, and that is going to be a 5th try of the season for the captain Matty Carrier, and that is the 3rd try of the afternoon for Hoyk. They extend their lead 22 points to 0.
Yeah, no, a great try there. We've mentioned the Hoyk set piece all day, and obviously Matty's been at the back of there. He's got away with quite a few over the last few weeks, as you mentioned. That's his 5th try, but Matty Carrier's been excellent for leading this Hoyk side over the last few weeks, and he thoroughly deserves all the credit he's getting for it. But as you say, Hoyk just having that bit of attack there to manage to get that line out, just that little bit of opportunism.
And Hoyk are going to ring a few changes, as we're going to see the introduction of Stephen Maybin and Callum Rennick, I think, that's going to come on. It's Andrew Ford actually wearing the number 17 this afternoon, as Kirk Ford adds the extras there, right-footed kick, and stretches the lead 24 points to 0. Conor Hogg just passing his experience on to young Finlay Campbell, the Jed Forest hooker. A couple of seasons in senior rugby, but he's certainly made that hooker jersey his own. He played a lot of district rugby as well as a youngster. Jed Forest now looking to try and fight fire with fire and get their first score of this afternoon. Stingle just taking the ball from them all. Munro looking to fire that ball across. It's Young just stepping back off of his left foot. He's made some headway into this Hoyk defence, and it's going to come back on a Jed side. And Stingle now, he finds Munro. Munro's just floating that big ball outfield, and he's trying to find the other Young. It's Lewis Young this time, now looking to try and do what his brother couldn't do and get closer to that Hoyk line. But again, Jed just running into dark alleys and just not being able to really puncture this Hoyk defence, and that's evidence of that there with that huge hit just off the fringes of the ruck there from Hoyk. And Jed getting closer and closer to this breakdown, and they're going to look to try and use the big runners there, isolated slightly on the floor. There is, I think that was Conor Hogg who took the ball forward. He got slightly isolated when he was carrying the ball, and Hoyk were all over that. They get the penalty and they can relieve the pressure here. And I'm not going to ask this question because you're a Hoyk man, I'll ask it because you're very interested in rugby, but do you feel like Jed are perhaps lacking that plan B?
I would say so, yeah. Obviously they're heavy reliant on the young twins in terms of what we've got. Now we do know they have got good players round about there. Obviously your Dom Buckley's, your Rory Marshall's is obviously a really good sevens player and could get into that. But I think that their go-to is obviously to get the ball to these guys, and obviously when they're not getting any go forward and they're not getting any movement or that, it's really difficult to play a 15-man game with 2 players.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like they're maybe not utilising the other players. It's maybe not a fair reflection of the way that their games have went, but there's another big ball out to Lewis Young. Lewis Young finds Gregor Young, and he's looking to try and make some inroads here as he's met well by a couple of challenges there from Hoyk, as Stingle looks to try and keep the pace up. A kick across field, looking to try and put some pressure onto Morgan Tate, but he does really well to gather that ball under pressure from Dom Buckley, and it's been very well fielded there by Morgan Tate. It's going to come back for the penalty because Jed did have the advantage, but that's what I do feel Jed have not been able to get the likes of Robbie Shearer-Gibb into the game. I think he's an excellent player, and Rory Marshall. I feel they've slightly been bypassed in this game, and that might just be the nature of the way that they're playing, but also it might be the way that Jed have been set up. Finlay Campbell to throw the ball into the line out, and he's hit his target again, and it's Roth who's leapt the highest there, uncontested really, as Hoyk look to try and drop the anchor and stop this ball rolling forward, but it is Finlay Campbell at the tail who's got the benefit there of looking down at the ground to see where the try line's going to be, but it gets pretty messy at the maul, and it's asked to tuck round the corner, and Jed Forest coming again and just looking to try and tuck it tight and just meet with fire and try and win the arm wrestle up front here, as the Hoyk resistance still stands strong. It's something they'll be very proud about at the moment. They'll be proud to keep this to a 0 as they look to go round the corner again, and just cut short slightly again by the Hoyk defence as they look to try and keep going, just keep picking and going round the corner as Law just adds his brute force into that attack and move. It was maybe not the most orthodox way to do it, but he's certainly got a little bit of go forward as the Jed Forest forwards look poised around the side of this breakdown. There's an advantage as well for Jed Forest here as they look to break. I think that's Finlay Campbell who was looking to try and break forward there, but it's going to be a penalty to Jed Forest and another opportunity to try and breach this Hoyk defence, but at the moment they're just being met with a complete firm shut door as Monroe's going to tap quickly and they're going to just go again, and I think that is big Gregor Law who's asked to do some hard work there, and it's going to be slow and steady here from Jed Forest. You can see the dictation from Nick Stingle behind the ruck there, who's just marshalling his forwards. He's just slapping the back. I think he's wanting the ball now. He's wanting this ball released, pushing the forwards out of the road. He's found Monroe. Monroe has found Gregor Young there, who's just bounced in and out, and he's been met well there by Logan Gordon Woolley. Stingle looking to try and keep the pace up and keep the tempo going. It's gotten a bit of a guddle there on the floor. The referee's going to bring that back, and it's an opportunity there, a bit of time off as well, but looking to try and keep the tempo going there. The referee's going to have a word with Matty Carrier, and certainly Hoyk just looking quickly to make sure that they can keep this game at their pace. Gary Monroe is wanting to get this game underway as quick as possible, as Conor Hogg now is looking to try and pick and go round the side. He makes some good yards, but he's been met with some good resistance there from Hoyk. They were working hard on the floor to try and turn that ball over, and Jed Forest go again, and they're going back to the blind side now. Nick Stingle just marshalling his orders, just dictating and pointing and ordering where he wants his forwards to play. The back certainly set up, ready and poised for a move if the ball is released, but Finlay Campbell doing well there to break forward. It looks like Hoyk have got hands on this ball on the deck. There's going to be an advantage here, and you wonder if the referee's his hand is going to be forced here and make a decision if this is persistent infringements here. Jed have a free ball. Stingle now finds Monroe with a little chip over, and it's Shearer Gibb who's first to the ball. Did he get the ball down? The referee has awarded his try, and Robbie Shearer Gibb gets the first try of this afternoon for Jed Forest. They use the advantage well, chip over the top, and it's the first time we've seen Shearer Gibb this afternoon, but he's got a try and he's got the first points on the board for Jed Forest.
Yeah, as we mentioned, something completely different there from Jed. They obviously just kept the ball tight. They kept taking on the Hoyk forwards man for man, and just instead of throwing the ball wide, we keep going on about this earning the right to play through, and they obviously did that. We mentioned earlier in the first half about the Hoyk defence, how they'll go real hard and trying to get up in a blitz defence in the Jed face. A lovely depth kick there from Gary Monroe, and then a great try. And
a conversion as well from Monroe, so he adds the extras after his missed penalty. Still a lot of work to do, but the referee was controlling stuff very well down in that try goal area. Stephen Maven going to enter the field of play, replacing Corey Tate, who's had an industrious afternoon, the youngster, and it's going to be Blade Roth from his own half. He's looking to try and force his way over Ronan McKean, but there was no avenue to do that there, as Don Buckley now is asked to try and punch the ball up, but he's just been stopped in his tracks, flipped over, and Monroe now with the right foot looking to kick downfield, and again a high hoisted kick. You can see Mason Cullen's got the wheels going, but it looks like there's the referee is going to give a yellow card for persistent penalties there, Kelly. To
be honest, I think Hoyk were really lucky. If that try hadn't been scored, I think there would have been a card down there.
Sean Fabian will spend 10 minutes in the bin. You feel there's a real lack of direction from Hoyk now, whereas Jed were the team that we were perhaps saying had that lack of direction initially, but they certainly have found a little bit of form here for the last 15 minutes now. Stingle, he finds Monroe, who passes to Marshall. Marshall has to do something, and he's cutting with Gregor Young in midfield. Good support play there from Jed Forest, committing a lot of bodies to the breakdown, but Mason Cullen now off his wing just tries to bounce back in and out and find infield and keep that ball secure, as Stingle now finds the runner there, and it was Daniel Wardrop who was asked to try and pluck the ball high from the sky. He was clattered in midfield, but the balls came back on their side. Now Roth, who's been very industrious as well, worked really hard off the ball and carried a lot this afternoon. And Monroe finding Wardrop now, who's asked to try and carry the ball on a second occasion, but he's a glutton for punishment because he just bounced back yet again. As Monroe throws that ball, it was almost Tate. He almost clutched that and got the interception, but it came back on a Jed Forest side. And there's going to be a small break in play, but an opportunity there for Hoyk to try and relieve themselves of the pressure with the interception, but Jed controlling this ball really, really well.
Yeah, Hoyk actually, Morgan Tate got Hoyk out of jail there just by spotting that interception opportunity, because there was an extra guy on the edge there to be able to play. But as I say, Hoyk just basically going through the motions here, and Jed have probably not paid enough credit here to Jed. They've really upped their game, and they've changed their game in terms of from what we were saying before. They've kept it that little bit tighter. They've got some go forward, and then they're putting Hoyk under a lot of pressure now.
That's certainly Callum Rennick trying to make an impact off the bench and stake a claim for what is very competitive in that forward pack for Hoyk. There's a lot of competition there as Declan Lightfoot enters the field of play, replacing Gareth Welsh. And Morgan Tate also coming off, and I think he's going to be replaced by Kyle Brunton. We're just trying to see where he's going to be slotted in. It looks like he's going to be in at 12 there. He's certainly a very good rugby player as well, who's perhaps just maybe not developed in the way we wish he would have. But Jay Linton making a nuisance of himself off of the line out again, just a big ball carry. And it comes to Andrew Ford there, who's looking to try and make an impact off the bench as well, as Lightfoot, who's just marshalling some orders. He passes the ball there, and it has found the clutches of Sutherland. He's had a good afternoon in the second row, perhaps a quieter second half, but Carrier now is asked to carry the ball just into the heart of the Jed defence, and again not making too much in the way of inroads, and the ball's coughed up on this side, and now it's Gregor Young looking to just step back and field. He's brushed off one defender, Kyle Brunton doing well there to scrag his man down to ground. Now Buckley's got Marshall outside him, who's just looking to try and go in between the two Hoyk defenders there, but he's been wrapped up well. And Stingle again finds big Harry Meadows, and he's met with a big tackle there from Rennick, and it's a good carry there for Jed Forest again. The Stingle just breaks loose, but the ball has been adjudged to have been knocked forward, I think, there. Jed running out of time to try and claw their way back into this tie, and you would feel that I don't think either team will be satisfied with the end result. I feel Hoyk will be wanting to get this bonus point victory here, and Jed Forest will be bitterly disappointed with their initial showing in the first half. But an advantage there for Jed Forest in this open play, and they pick it round the corner, and I think that's young Finlay Campbell again looking to try and make some headway, and it's a big loopy ball out here to Mason Cullen. Mason Cullen just stamping his feet, looking to try and evade the defender, but on that occasion he's just caught dead, and Stingle going on the blind side here. A little bit of interplay there between Shearer Gibb and Gregor Young, who just pass and juggle the ball in between them, and Hoyk again working hard on the deck, and it's came back on the Jed side. Don Buckley with one fend to Jay Linton, 2, 3, and he's been wrapped up on the third occasion there, and that was good work from Andrew Ford to eventually bring the rampaging Don Buckley down to ground. And now Munro, he's got options there. Big Harry Meadows now just trying to offer himself up for some hard runs and hard yards, and he's made some good headway, and again Jed just slowly but surely gnawing themselves into this into a bit of territory, and there's a little bit of fisticuffs there over on this far side, and David Chang Ling has got his flag out. It'll be interesting to see what has happened there. And it's no surprise, is it, that Don Buckley was there? They try to ruffle a few feathers in there, but he's I don't know who would win a fight between him and Kirk Ford, but my money would be on Don Buckley, but the referee is going to have a little bit of a chat with them. But I don't know if anybody's seen anything there on the cusp, but it just looked like Jed were starting to get a little bit ahead of steam as well, and really starting to make the yards and fragmenting this Hoyk defence, and things like this happen, they get pulled back and stop the momentum. But it's going to be a yellow card, and it looks like it is going to be Andrew Ford who is going to be going to the sin bin. Matty Carrier trying to plead his case for his teammate, but I don't think the referee's going to be having any of it, no matter what Matty says. And that is their fourth yellow card of the season, and they've doubled their tally this afternoon with the 2 yellow cards that they've had so far. But Jed, they get another opportunity here to try and hit their target, which they do, and look to try and etch their way back into the game. Another forward off the field for Hoyk, so they've got a little bit of an advantage up front in terms of weight and balance, and that maul is starting to tick now for Jed Forest as they get a little bit of go forward here. It's certainly marching there, it's twisting and weaving, and it's been made a mess again by Hoyk on the floor. It looks like it's perhaps going to come back on their side, and I think you can tell by the roar it certainly has came back on the Hoyk side. A big slap on the back for the teammates and the good work on the deck, but again another let off for Hoyk on that occasion. Good defensive work, but Jed just not being able to make their possession and territory count.
Yeah, just back in that 22 again, Dale, wasn't it? And they just never had the opportunity to really get some more go forward and momentum there. And Hoyk actually have no idea what goes in there, I'm going to be completely honest. It's obviously one of the areas that I tried not to get into, but Hoyk obviously defended it really well, and we've managed to get a scrum attack here. Now it's obviously deep in our 22, it's obviously a pretty difficult area to attack from, but if you're in the Hoyk back line now, I think you want to have a shot. I think that especially the way the scores are, we want to throw some caution to the wind and really have a go here and see what can be done.
Yeah, you think the game as a competition is done, you need to go for the bonus point, but it's certainly going to have to try and do it from deep, as a pick up from the base there from Callum Rennick, and he's it's Jay Linton, sorry, who carried that ball from the base of the scrum, a very energetic and dynamic ball carrier. It's now Callum Rennick with the ball in hand, who's been asked just to tidy this up slightly. And Hoyk looking to kick the ball out, and it's Declan Lightfoot who brings the game to a play. A little shake of the head for Graham Hogg, and I think anybody who's listening will understand why he was wanting that 5-point win. However, it is a 24-7 win for Hoyk in the end. Perhaps something that they could have got a little bit more from, and it's perhaps something that Jed could have made a little bit more of a competition with as well. A bit late to the battle, but Graham, with your Hoyk hat on, you'll be very, very disappointed with the fact that they didn't throw caution to the wind at the end. But a little bit of optimism there that it's a tight border battle, and you made it easy work in the first half.
Yeah, we both know, Dale. They're obviously very, very difficult fixtures to play in, and especially where Hoyk have obviously had their home record to stand by, and we basically had that sewn up by half time in terms of obviously the tries we got and how the ascendancy and how much in control we were in that first half. Yes, slightly disappointed. I know how this group works. I know that they will be disappointed in terms of not getting that bonus point earlier. But as you know, in these games, as we mentioned numerous times already, a win's a win, and the Hoyk boys will be relatively happy with their day's performance, and then we move on to another away fixture next week.
Certainly a good, tasty border derby here, but it's Hoyk who win this 24-7.
Bailey, you ground out the victory there, and they came at you all guns blazing at the end, but the defence stood firm.
I think it's a thing we set ourselves at, especially at Mansfield. We love playing here, and the standards for the folk in the crowd and stuff. It's just a given now. We worked on it, set our stall early in the season for our standards and everything, and I think it shows in the performances we've had since the first couple of games. We've had a bit of a rocket, and then just built on performances, take a win, and then that's 3 in a row now, so chuffed.
You did some real serious damage early on today.
I think we've not clicked as much as we'd have liked to in the first kind of half of the season, but I think as backs especially, we kind of felt that the forwards were pushing well above their weight, and we just wanted to kind of push above ours, so I think the first half kind of showed that, so we just enjoyed it today too.
17-0 at half-time, so it could still have given an opportunity for Jed to come back, and then you got that crucial try through Matt Carrier again, 24-0. That made a big difference.
I think the forwards, it speaks for themselves. I think they've scored the most tries in the league just a bit, so our forward pack's relying. I can't really get a day, so we just have to focus on what we can do as backs to try and help them and get over the line ourselves.
Well, Paolo, obviously a disappointing result. They really got you in the first half, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't think we're quite ready for what they brought in the first half. It kind of caught us off guard, but yeah, big credit to Hoyk. We didn't expect that, and yeah, they put us on the back foot straight away from the first opening minutes. So
it was a real border derby, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, always is. It's always tough coming here, and it's great. It's really good. It's good rugby. It's hard rugby, and today, unfortunately, we're on the wrong end.
Now the second half was a different affair, wasn't it? Because you had loads and loads of territory, but you just couldn't get over that line, apart from that Robbie Shearer-Gibb try, but you were kind of on the edge, but couldn't quite get there.
Yeah, we've tried a couple of things through the week that maybe has not worked out quite in our favour. Credit to Hoyk again, their defence was really good. They really shut us down really quickly, really early, put us on the back foot, and we just tried everything we could. Unfortunately, we just couldn't get over the line.
There was a long chat in the dressing room afterwards. What was being said there?
Just disappointed with the results, knowing that we should have been a lot better than we were today, and just being honest with ourselves and just what's the next steps forward. We know we've got a lot more to prove, and we're a lot better rugby team than what we played today. So hopefully in the next coming weeks we'll be able to bring that.
Of course, it gets tougher next week as well, because you're back at Riverside Park. That's the good news, but it is Curry, and Curry really flying at the moment.
Yeah, I mean every game's a tough game in the Premiership, and thankfully we're at home. I think we always bring a little more edge at home, so we're definitely backing ourselves next week, but once again it's going to be a tight game.
So what's it like, border derbies? You love them?
Oh, I can't beat them. There's not like it. You get tell stories about them and stuff, but you don't come what it's like until you play anything like that.
And this has been a lucky ground, hasn't it, for you against Jed Forest? I can't remember the last time Jed have actually won here. I remember a draw about 10 years ago. But, when you bring them to this patch, you do well with them.
Aye, well, I think it's the same with everybody at home, to be fair. Even before the Super 6, I think they bet most of the top clubs and stuff. So I think I dig him what it is, but it's just playing at Mansfield, it's something about it like...
But you're right up the top of the end of the table now, and you'll want to take this forward next week.
Aye, we just have to keep building on what we've done. Maybe bonus points slipped early doors, and the same last week in Aberdeen. But I think we just we've got a good thing going now, 3 in a row, so we just have to take it away for him.
It's great to see you back on the pitch again.
A bit
You said you
unexpected.
weren't going to, but you've actually, was it
Yeah.
top try scorer now, isn't it, in the league? Something like that?
Something like that, yeah. That's all credit to the team, man. I just finished them off. But no, I was contemplating not playing, and it's been a tough start because I've carried a few injuries and that, but I think it's good to be back.
So, a victory for Hoyk sees them maintain their winning streak for another week. I hope you can join us next week, but for now, from me and the team, cheerio.